nut cookies are such a big hit around the holidays. They're good any time of year, but they're especially good around the holidays. For these, we're going to use 2 sticks of softened butter, and we're going to cream that with our sugar. We have 3/4 cup of regular white sugar, 3/4 cups of the brown sugar. You could probably use all brown sugar if you wanted to, but this makes a good combination, and it's often used in cookies. We have 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I make my own vanilla because I like it. It's pure. It's not an imitation. It has good flavor. I have 1.5 cups of old-fashioned rolled oats. And then we have our flours, and I use half white and half whole wheat. I have 1 cup of the white flour, all-purpose, and I have 1 cup of bought whole wheat flour, because I know a lot of people like to bake, but they don't have a mill. If you have a mill, use freshly milled. That's best. But for people that don't, I'm making these just for you. And this is the bought whole wheat flour. The recipe will be online. I'll give you the grams and all the measurements there too. This particular cookie has a lot of dried fruits and nuts, which I really like. You can put whatever fruit and nuts that you like, what your family likes, but I like apricots a lot, so I have 1 cup of chopped up apricots. You can see they're chopped up in just little pieces. Not tiny, but pretty small. I've got 1 cup of chocolate chunks, and I just took my chocolate and kind of cut it up in pieces, not little chocolate chips. You could use chocolate chips if that's what you have, but the chunks really give it when you bite into it, you get a little more chocolate taste, I guess. I have 1/4 cup of dried figs cut up in pieces. I like figs. I could actually use 1 cup of those and maybe 1/2 cup of apricots and 1/2 cup of figs. You can do it however you want to. You can use dried apples in them, cranberries, whatever you want. I've got 1 cup of dried cherries. You can use cranberries, cherries, whatever you have and whatever you like. Again, make these cookies fit you and your family, and then you know they're going to be good. Okay, we're going to start mixing. This is such a simple recipe. My butter is softened. You do not want it melted, but you do want it softened. This could soften a little more, but it's okay. We'll be all right with it. So we got 2 sticks of butter, which is a cup of butter. And we have our sugars that we're going to put in here. Just going to cream the butter and the sugar together. And we'll add our eggs, vanilla. This is 1 cup of chopped pecans. I forgot to tell you about that, chopped up. And I did toast them. Toasted pecans are better. Just cream the butter and sugar. You want your butter and sugar to be really fluffy and creamy. And it takes a little bit of creaming. You can do this with a hand mixer. You can do them with a big mixer, however you want to do them. But if you're using a stand mixer, if the dough starts getting too thick on you, make sure you stop. And I even finish this up just by hand, because this mixer would take it, but I don't want it munched up too much. And I sure don't want these munched up too much at all, mixed in there. I'll have to put them in by hand anyway. That's all there is to it. Very simple, easy recipe. And my dough is very creamy. Let me show you what this looks like. It is like almost like whipped cream. It's just very creamy, and that's what you want. And the softer that butter is when you start, without it being melted, better off you're going to be, because it'll cream up. Again, you can do this with a hand mixer. This would be easy. All of this would be easy. When you add the fruit and nuts, you just start using your hands instead of your mixer. We're going to add our egg. We'll add our 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm going to whip those up and get them well mixed. Cookie dough, just a lot of it. Good cookies start with whipping up those butters and sugars till they're really, really creamy. And don't skip that process, because it's really important. And then adding your egg and your vanilla, and just whip that up till it's really creamy too. I've got this batter. It's just really, I guess, fluffy is the word I'm looking for. It's very fluffy and light. That's what you want. That's the basis of a good cookie. Then you can start adding your flours. I add it slowly. I don't want to build gluten in a cookie. So I'll turn it on low and add it slowly. Just a little bit at a time. Okay, we're adding our flour slowly and get it mixed in well, but again, you don't want to start developing gluten, so keep it on really, really low. And we're going to add in our oats the same way, just on low, just enough to mix them. We'll add in the other fruits and nuts. I'm just going to let it mix in very slowly for maybe a minute. Then I'm going to finish it up by hand. So we'll add in our oats slowly. Mix in. I do keep the sides of my bowl scraped down. Again, this recipe, this big mixer is not really necessarily what you need, but it will work. I have one, so I use it, but I've also made these cookies with a hand mixer. This mixer, I use it for big batches of bread, but a lot of times I like to make my bread by hand because you can over mix in here. That's why you've got to keep this on low, really low. Okay, we're going to add in our fruits. I've got these in little jars because I cut them up yesterday. I put lids on them. I like to prep the day before any fruits or nuts or things I'm going to put in a recipe. Our cranberries. This on low, and then I'll add the rest of the fruit. Very low, as low as it'll go. We'll add in our apricots. Again, you don't want to over mix these fruits or they'll disappear basically. That's not, you want the chunks in there. My cookies are good the way they are. Put in our nuts. Now this is where when you add these fruit and nuts, if you have a smaller mixer, if you had a smaller mixer, you'd probably mix in those fruit and nuts by hand because this could really overheat your motor. Won't overheat this one. We're going to finish it up, like I said, by hand. So you can see what I'm doing. Normally you would mix this by hand just a little bit, finish mixing it in your bowl. And you can just scoop your cookies out from your bowl. But I wanted you to see what I'm doing better and see the texture. So I'm going to take all this out and put it on the cabinet for you. But normally you would not be doing this step. Knock this over a little bit so you can see it. And mix this just by hand because I don't want my hand all sticky, I guess. I'm going to use a glove. You don't have to. Just clean hands will work. And I'm just going to mix this together so it's, you know, you want the flour all mixed in there really well. You can use two hands, it might be easier, but I only have one glove out. But it's pretty mixed, as you can see. But if you mixed it by hand, it's a big pecan half. I think I'll just keep that. You don't want big chunks in there. Just cut them up and chop them up. You don't want tiny little either. Just what I call a medium chop, I guess. A medium to a smaller chop. You don't want big pieces, but you know the fruit, when you bite into it, that's the size you'd want to eat. These cookies are some of my favorite. I love the fruit and nuts in them, but they also they don't remind me. They're a lot like an oatmeal cookie, and that's one of my favorite cookies. So you can put about anything in them you want to. The whole wheat flour gives it more nutrition. I'm going to try it with more whole grain. I've got half in here now, and half is still a lot of good nutrition. Don't beat yourself up. If your family doesn't like 100% whole grain, it's okay. You make them with half, they probably won't even know what's in there. I'd almost guarantee they won't know it. You can taste it. It makes great cookies. That looks good. My oven is preheated to 350. Now to make smaller cookies, you'd obviously use a smaller cookie scoop. To make big breakfast cookies, use this bigger size cookie scoop. Just flatten it out, put them on your cookie sheet. Now these make big cookies, so don't be surprised. They're a lot of times people will eat them for breakfast or even for a snack. Leave plenty of room. I'd only put two across because they're going to be pushed down here in a minute. Just need some room. You can't crowd these pans with these kind of cookies, with these bigger cookie on them. But again, you can make them smaller, regular size, whatever size you and your family like. I love. Now I'm going to flatten these out and bake them off. But you could just put them on your cookie sheet, freeze them, the dough, and then when you get ready to bake them, just thaw them out in the refrigerator, the dough out. I have a little oven in my laundry room where I can just make 1 or 2 cookies, or you can do 1 or 2 in an air fryer. But you could freeze these up just the dough like this, freeze them on a sheet, and then when they're frozen, put them in a Ziploc bag. You have cookie dough made up, ready to go, whenever you want one or two cookies. And I like doing that. You can also bake them off and freeze them. If you want hot cookies, the best way is just freeze the cookie dough. But you could heat up the other, I suppose, too. I'm going to finish this up, and then we'll be back. Cookies are baked, cooled, and glazed. And let me show you how I did that. I just took them after they cooled. I put the cookies on a rack, and I put parchment under just to keep my counter clean. And I made a pretty thin glaze with just powdered sugar and water. If it's too thick, it won't kind of glaze and make a drizzle. If it's too thin, it'll just all burn off. So you want it just a good consistency that just flows. And then I just took them and sprayed. I had already glazed these once, so this is really a second coating, but it kind of sinks in. It's okay. But probably one time is all you really need is your cookies. And let them dry, and then you can stack them on your tray. Let these sit over here and dry. And you can make them and decorate them. Make them pretty. Makes a pretty platter. You can do this for any holiday, not just Christmas, but really any holiday, or just have them for breakfast. You can glaze them or not glaze them just for your regular, breakfast meals. The glaze just sort of makes them more festive looking, I guess. That was my sister's idea, and it's a good idea. All right, we're going to test one of these. I'm going to test one that's I don't want to mess up my pretty tray, so we'll test one of these. These are soft on the inside. All that fruit and nuts. There's apricots and pecans, figs, cherries, dried cherries, or you can use dried cranberries. But they're delicious. And some chocolate, shaved chocolate in there. I believe these would be good with pineapple dried. I think any kind of dried fruit would be good in these. Whatever your family likes. One is more than enough for breakfast. So I hope you'll try these for your holiday table or for any time of the year. These would be good any day of the week, any time of the year. Happy baking.